Hello and welcome back to another episode in the life and suffering of Sir Brante. I am especially tired for some reason today, so I apologize in advance for any yawning that will occur during the recording of this episode. It will occur a bunch of times. Year 1143, the last straw. Rumours are running wild in Anisot. People say that a mysterious clandestine society called the Last Straw holds the entirety of the city's seedy underbelly in its clutches, with men and safe houses all over Anisot, plotting and scheming against the nobles and the rulers of the province. Their leader is a woman, a ruthless criminal by the name of Sophia. She has evaded all attempts at capture. The common people both feared the Last Straw and sympathize with their cause. If the rumors are true, the city finally has someone who will stop at nothing to help the people claim their rights. But who would support this secret organization? And how did the insurgents manage to survive this long? No one in the city knows the answers. Magistrate Elvermore must assuage the people's fears once again.
The vile mutineers and heretics who call themselves the Last Straw will be caught and executed very soon, and anyone who has given them money and shelter will meet the same fate. The secret chancellery will make sure of that.
But even facing a manhunt, the Last Straw still endures. Slowly but surely, the influence of this underground organization is spreading throughout the city. Order is going down. Power increase. Well, it doesn't really increase. It's the power of the new nobility? Not really. Of the new people. Not new people either. You know what I mean. Wealth of Magra. Well, we're very close to barren lands. That is not ideal. Threats and promises. You are in the middle of ascending the city hall's long curved marble staircase. A small man beneath the building's towering vault. You are suddenly visited that night by messengers from Magistrate Elvermore. They insisted the reason was most urgent. You are already expected upstairs. There is a deafening silence in the lavishly decorated corridors. Your footsteps, the only noise you can hear. Finally, you enter the spacious room that is the office of Elvermore, a stately official of considerable age. You find him sitting in his comfortable chair of carved wood. He acknowledges your presence with a nod. However, the magistrate is not alone. By the window of the office stands a tall Arcanine. The cape of the Imperial Legion covers his shoulders. He is Dorius Otton, the commander of Magra, in the flesh. He does not even bother to turn around and look at you. The magistrate gestures to you formally, beckoning you closer.
Judge Brante, you have come at last. Sir Otton has been eagerly awaiting your arrival. You see, the commander has learned about a litigation being prepared against him at the prefecture. He demanded that an end be put to these machinations at once, and I humbly offered him my assistance.
Slowly, Otton turns to face you. He eyes you with cold contempt. Brante, you again. So you've been chosen to oversee this so-called case against me. I don't envy you. I will be brief. I will not stand idly by in the face of slander and baseless accusations. Give me your word of honor as a nobleman that you will do everything in your power to put a stop to this litigation. Only then will you be free to leave. I will treat any other answer as an insult against my noble lineage. And let it be known that Sir Elvermore holds many positions, such as the chairman's seat at the Court of Honor, which means that any insult will be soon followed by a legitimate duel of honor. I'm sure you know full well how others have fared in duels against me. Otton turns toward the window before you say anything, as if your answer has already been heard. Magistrate Elvermore watches Otton, and you silently with a mysterious smirk. You stand before the two lords of the city, a young man only recently ennobled by the mantle. Any word that leaves your lips now will affect your fate. We can't retaliate, not that we'd want to, because our valor is not good enough. We can put him at ease. Yeah. We can seek Elvermore's protection. No, yeah, we're putting him at ease. He doesn't have to worry about this puny little case. We can't do anything against him. Defying Otton's will now means facing true death by sword, and your family will be left to suffer next. You have no choice but to lie and mislead the enraged Arcanine, doing what you can to mollify him. And so you bow deeply and speak as meekly as you can. Indeed, you say, His Excellency has every right to feel wronged by the prefecture. There is indeed a folder with his name on it in the archives, but you do not seek to besmirch Otton's honorable name. No, quite the contrary. You have merely been told to investigate slanderous rumors of illegal duels, and so far you have found no evidence that could tarnish the honor of the commander of Magra. It is true that Sir Otton is an impeccable master of the sword and no opponent can duel him without suffering a lesser death, but His Excellency had every right to duel with whomever he chooses. You, on the other hand, are but a humble servant of the law. To you, even the thought of initiating litigation against an Arcadian lord is simply unthinkable. Who would ever seek to judge guilty those who have been chosen by the gods themselves to rule over the rest of the empire? Quit your groveling, Brante. I don't need to waste my time on a duel to see you are no threat to me. So much better for me then. The Archduke is expecting me already. But pray to the twins if I hear even a word of this so-called case ever again. Farewell. Otton quickly walks out of the magistrate's office. Once his cape has disappeared down the long corridor, Elvermont turns to you with a smile of approval.
I see you're getting more and more accustomed to knowing your place, Brante. The likes of you are always a perfect fit in the ranks of power, even if you will never reach the very top. Once again, I am most pleased to have you with us.
You leave the city hall with a heavy heart. Sir Alborn wants Otton's case to progress, and so it will, no matter how much you have to bluff and delude those in power. Otton's sword will continue to loom over you until his case comes to an end. More manipulation is always good. We're clever now. A nobleman's hand. Otton's case still looms over you, a burden and a threat. As the strife between the estates grows more bitter, the judge's trade grows tougher by the day. The commoners demand more rights and legal protections. The nobles do their best to push back. As things stand right now, any verdict made in court may result in upheaval in the province, and possibly determine the outcome of your case against Otton. One day, in a park by the Fales estate, favoured by dueling Anizot nobles, you see a curly-haired young man lying prone in a small sunlit square. His body has been pierced by a sword, and it has not vanished. A true death. You are here to investigate a report of an illegal duel. The winner is still here, a slender, middle-aged noble in an elegant black jacket, his hand still on the hilt of his sword, surrounded by gendarmes.
Your orders, Your Honor. Sir Alcorvio will not submit on his own, and we wouldn't dare use force against him.
You sign for the gendarmes to lower their weapons and approach the duelist. Alcorvio's eyes widen and his face comes to life when he notices you. Before you can ask him, the nobleman begins to speak, far louder than necessary.
It was a duel sanctioned by the Court of Honor, that is all. The late Sir Alester questioned my loyalty to the Emperor and called me an apostate. He left me no other choice but to defend my honor, and now he's dead. Please be quick with your verdict, Sir Judge. I'm expected at the capital. You do know who I am, don't you?
Before you can say a single word, a carriage bearing the crest of Magistrate Elvermont rolls through the gate. The magistrate furrows his silvery brow as he looks at the sorrowful scene, then gestures politely for Alcorvio to approach his carriage. With a chuckle, the duelist walks through the line of gendarmes and leans on the carriage. Meanwhile, the magistrate takes you aside for a moment.
Brante, as you know, I'm the chairman of our city's Court of Honor. I refused to sanction this duel for as long as I could, since true death was on the line, but Alan Alcorvio insisted that denying him would spell trouble for the city of Anizot. Regrettably, he is a small yet important person in the Emperor's court. He used to command the Emperor's personal guard. I realize that you must mete out justice as your duty demands, but remember, duels of honor are one of the cornerstones of imperial tradition, one of the pillars that support the twins' divine vision for the Empire. You have the authority to punish Alcorvio, but be careful. He might make a dangerous enemy, both for yourself and for all the nobles of Anizot. That fool Alester didn't know this, and now he's lying there before us. We would be wise not to repeat his mistake.
The magistrate of Anizot glances around, then continues in a hushed tone.
Brante, this situation is far from ordinary. If the fate of your city means anything to you, it would be best to let Alcorvio go without a trial. Anizot doesn't need any trouble from the capital, and the Alesters are not as strong as they used to be. They'll get through it. You may fine him if you wish. Alcorvio will pay it and move on, and justice will be done, at least to some extent. However, if you can diffuse the matter entirely, you will earn favor with all the aristocracy of Anizot, and I'll personally see to it you get a swift promotion.
Deep in thought, you gaze upon the body of the dead duelist and the long shadow of El Corvio. The decision you are about to make could influence all future duels in the province, as well as your own standing. We can't pronounce the Court of Honor illegal, because, well, our justice isn't high enough. And we haven't yet promised, well, we have promised, but we have broken that promise with Augustine Alborn. We could legalize duels. That is probably not a good idea. We could sentence El Corvio to capital punishment. Probably not a good idea. Or we can fine him. I mean... This is a difficult choice. I'm still kind of looking for the option that El Vermont said would diffuse the situation fully. I don't see that within those four. Maybe sentencing him to capital punishment would. Maybe. Fining him would probably help finances though. We're in dire need of a help in that regard. This is such a difficult decision. You know what? Go on. You shake your head dispassionately. Enunciating every word with perfect precision, you explain the situation to El Vermont. A murder in a duel is still a murder, and the punishment for murder is execution. You do not have the right to distort the law. The magistrate's face falls in surprise.
Brante, you don't seem to realize how the world works. I just told you El Corvio plays an important role in the Emperor's court. Are you really so eager to make enemies? Well, you're about to. No connections will protect you if you're so intent upon trampling ancient noble traditions.
It seems El Vermont is not aware that you have friends in very high places. You tell him in turn. The Archduke's family will readily side with you. The magistrate dashes to El Corvio, fuming with rage at your words.
Sir El Corvio, this is a terrible misunderstanding. I'll do everything I can to right this wrong, but these good sirs mean to have you arrested.
You give the gendarmes a firm order. Seize the murderer's sword, shackle him, and take him to the prefecture.
You dare call me a murderer? Doesn't anyone in your filthy, decrepit province know the meaning of a duel?
El Corvio draws his sword and assumes a defensive stance, startling the gendarmes with such a fervent refusal to comply. You start giving commands to the gendarmes. Following your orders, they manage to surround and disarm El Corvio. You head for the prefecture to take care of the paperwork and send a message to Octavia. You ask your powerful benefactress to convince the aristocracy to side with you in ordering the death penalty for El Corvio. He is a complete outsider in Magra, you write, who happened to murder the heir to the ancient bloodline of El Este. Surely Octavia can aid her humble servant in such a trifling matter? Her reply takes almost no time to arrive.
El Corvio is a staunch follower of the Tempests and the new overseer. This puts him at great odds with my father. Removing him will be easy, especially if you have a proper case against him. Rest assured, Calamity, the Milanides dynasty will side with you in this trial. As for the other nobles, have no fear. I will let no harm come to you, my dearest human.
El Corvio's trial comes and goes incredibly quickly. The seats in the courtroom are absolutely empty. No noble risks appearing in defense of the visitor from Eterna and attracting the displeasure of Archduke Milanides. One by one, you present evidence of El Corvio's guilt. The ill-fated noble visitor coldly spits out threats in return. The Board of Justice, presided over by Alborn, makes its final judgment.
Sending a noble to the hereafter is never easy, but there are times when the court has no other way to instill respect for imperial law among those of the noble estate. Sir El Corvio, we hereby sentence you to true death by decapitation. The sentence will be carried out in Majesty Square tomorrow.
El Corvio is silent, unwilling to believe in what has just happened. But the verdict has been made. El Corvio is taken to the dungeon, the shackles still on his wrists. Tomorrow, the city of Anizot will, for the first time, witness a noble being executed for a duel. The aristocracy of Anizot is indignant over your decision. They fear what might come next, and yet Elkovia's shameful end on the executioner's block goes seemingly unnoticed in the capital. Soon, rumors begin to spread. Some say the beheaded nobleman was indeed a traitor to the crown. Why else would the emperor's court ignore the beheading entirely? Or was it all the handiwork of Archduke Milanidas himself? Soon after the execution, something arrives on your doorstep. A small yet hefty chest with a note attached. Sir Brante, we realize how difficult it must have been for you to deliver this strict yet righteous verdict. We mourn the loss of our son, who transgressed against the law forbidding all duels. Yet justice has found his murderer thanks to you. Please accept this humble gift as a token of our gratitude, from Sir Constance Eleste and Lady Margaret Eleste. Our justice has gone up. That's good. And career has gone down 1. That's no issue at all. But our wealth has increased. That is very important. The hunt for Tomas. This event is a consequence. Okay. Let's see. You're shaving before going to work. You scoop some warm water from the wash basin. The morning light reflected in the mirror is blinding. A servant rushes in with an urgent letter, or rather a crumbled note. He says it is from a childhood friend of yours. This is not a crumbled note. You flinch involuntarily. A nasty cut appears on your cheek. Calamity, I'm in trouble. Otto knows that I helped you. Now he's finally decided to get rid of me. His henchmen are on my trail already. They'll find me no matter how well I hide. I'm out of time. Brante, if you can, for the sake of our old friendship, help me out of this mess somehow. If Otton finds me, I'll be off to the Shining Pillar. I'm all out of lives. Your friend, Tomas. You crush the note in your hands. A drop of blood runs down your cheek. Your old friend is in danger because he helped you with the case against Otton. If you don't interfere, Tomas Gero is doomed. Eliminate. You bribe prefecture gendarmes to capture and kill the enemies threatening Tomas. That's gonna cost us money. Ugh. I can't protect him because we're not strong enough. I guess we're eliminating some enemies. Crumpling the note in your hand, you pace the room and think. The hiding place you provided for Tomas proved to be insufficient. You've not been able to save him from Otton entirely. Well, you must do it now. This game would be so much easier if he wasn't here. But fighting Otton on your own would be unwise. You need a more cunning plan. How could Otton's henchmen find Tomas's hiding place? Only for you, but they would not be so foolish as to attack you, a prefecture judge. That means you have to get rid of them yourself. You get in your carriage and order the driver to take you to the prefecture. You find Captain Linard. The commander of the gendarmes greets you like an old friend. George Brante, how can I be of service? With a mysterious air, you gesture for Linard to come closer and inform him that an attack is planned against you tonight. Captain Linard narrows his eyes, suspicious. Keeping order is our duty, Your Honor. My squad will defend you. You hint to Linard that the situation is a little more complicated than that. The perpetrators might not attack you outright. They may just threaten you. But the gendarmes have a responsibility to prevent this as well, don't they? And afterwards, perhaps they could testify in court that the criminals were about to attack you. I see. You know, many citizens of Anizot live on the edge of poverty. Crime is on the rise, Your Honor. It's understandable. Even with a gendarme's wages, it's hard to get by. You understand what Linard is implying, and you are sure that the efforts of the gendarmes will be properly rewarded. But after capturing the criminals, gendarmes also have to confirm the fact of the attack in the court. That night you go for a walk around the city, purposefully choosing empty side streets. Shadows follow you at a distance, gendarmes in civilian dress. Ominous silhouettes appear before you. You examine the faces hidden beneath their hoods. Their clothing is ostentatiously coarse, but their manners and speech betray them as servants from a noble household. The leader speaks, asking if you're a friend of one Sir Tomas Gero. He says that they are his friends too and wish to pay him a visit, but are having trouble finding him. They're attacking the judge. Arrest them. In the blink of an eye, the gendarmes swoop in and round up Otton's henchmen. The blows from the gendarmes' clubs quickly beat any desire to resist out of them. They are put in wooden restraints and taken to the prefecture. Linard hands you some papers. These are our statements, Your Honor. We're always happy to help. The same night, with a stroke of a pen, you send all 5 of Otton's servants to the gallows for attacking a nobleman and a judge. Fortunately, they are all lowborn, so no one will intercede on their behalf, not even Otton himself. The commander will be furious, but he will also have to find some new goons. At the very least, you have bought Tomas some time. You hurry to see your friend, but he's not in his hideout anymore. All you find is a note. Calamity, after you got rid of those thugs, I decided to flee in Isot. Without his spies, Otton seems to have lost my trail, and it's all thanks to you. I'm in your eternal debt, Brante. I hope you take down that bastard and put an end to his crimes once and for all. We'll meet again. Your friend, Tomas. Okay, so that hopefully means Otton can't, threaten me in the future over him. Not ideal, but we'll deal with it. I hope this will be worth it at one point. Elfero's list. You spend day after day hard at work, toiling over Otton's case, but something far more urgent demands the prefecture's attention today. The city is in chaos. There was an explosion in the square in front of the city hall. Someone threw a bomb at Magistrate Remy Elvermore's carriage. The assassination attempt failed. The magistrate was not inside the carriage at the time. He was unharmed, although his servants and driver did not fare so well. Even in your office, you can still smell the acrid smoke from the blast. The gendarmes reacted quickly. 5 suspects, craftsmen and factory workers, were brought to the prefecture before sunset. They are accused of joining the Last Straw, a secret society of insurgents seeking to overthrow imperial rule. This society is on its way to becoming the talk of the city. Rumor has it their leader is an enigmatic woman, a tough criminal by the name of Sophia. The 5 suspects deny their involvement, but a number of eyewitnesses saw them walking toward the square, and some of them still have traces of gunpowder on their fingers. Judge Carlo Fockgraben has taken the case. The trial will be mercilessly swift. The 5 are to be hanged tomorrow morning. The sun begins to set. You're about to leave for home when you hear heavy footsteps in the hallway. A stranger enters your office. He is pale with chiseled features, a furrowed brow, a thick black moustache, and dark eyes watching you intently from deep within their sockets. He presents you with a gilded pendant in the shape of a wheel.
Baron Philippe Elfero, Secret Chancellery Advisor. I imagine you're well aware that we deal with plots, schemes, and revolts against the Empire. I have a matter of great importance to the Empire to discuss with you, Sir Brante. I'm aware that the case of the explosion in the square is not assigned to you, but for our purposes this is actually for the best. The Secret Chancellery has been following this so-called Last Straw group for a long time now. They are the greatest threat to peace in Anizot, but you can help us rid the city of this menace.
Baron Elfero produces a neatly folded sheet of paper.
This is a list of known insurgents connected to the Last Straw. They haven't blown anyone up just yet, but surely you realize that it would be most imprudent to wait for them to commit their next crime. The time to act is now.
You scan the list quickly. Some of the names in it seem somewhat familiar, perhaps from your youth.
I find a way, anyway, to implicate them in today's assassination attempt, and you will prevent more explosions in the future. The Empire will rest easy if we can rid ourselves of this scum as quickly as possible. If you render this service to the Secret Chancellery, you may rely on my assistance in the future. As you may suspect, I have more than my fair share of powerful connections.
Silence falls. The Secret Chancellery Advisor pierces you with his heavy gaze. We could either conduct an investigation, which would cost wealth. We must find proof of their guilt. We can't shelter the suspects, because we haven't had Gloria's secret, whatever that is. And we can't protect the people on the list because we don't have the valor. We kind of need our money. I mean, at that point, these are really no different from each other, in a way. Well, technically, it depends on the implication. If the implication of this is we're conducting an investigation just to find proof, and then we're going to hang them, it's no different than this. If you're going to say, well, we didn't find any proof, well, whatever, hang them. We're going with this. You sigh heavily and manage a nod. Baron Elfero allows himself a reassuring half-smile.
I'm glad to see we understand each other, Brante. I will put in a good word for you with my connections. You're a much more agreeable man than your prefect. Perhaps you might take his place one day, but until that happens, you may call for my assistance in matters that require particular discretion.
A long and sleepless night follows. 10 new cases lie open before you. Gendarmes set up ambushes and catch every soul on El Ferro's list. You fabricate witness statements and describe non-existent evidence, tying these 10 people to the 5 behind the assassination attempt against the magistrate. One by one, the 10 prisoners appear in your office to hear their verdict. You do not look at them. You would rather not remember the faces of the people you sent to the hereafter. The morning after, 10 more people join the 5 that have already been sent to the gallows. Back at home, Father asks you about the case. He is furious when he learns the truth.
I cannot believe it. Those people were never proven guilty, and yet you sent them off to die.
You quote Felipe, "The end justifies the means when you're fighting an insurgency. If you take too long to eradicate the threat, it might be too late."
I never thought I'd hear my own son say such things. The shame, the disgrace. You should never have done this. We serve the law. We don't break it.
Your sister Gloria also hears about these events from your father.
That execution, it was you? I knew those people. 3 of them were our neighbors. This is horrible. How could you do such a thing, Calamity?
After that day, you and Father barely speak at home. At work, you only talk about work. The rest of the prefecture soon notices the change. "Don't take it so hard, Brante. Everyone has their principles. Sometimes they just don't line up. The world wouldn't need any judges if that wasn't true. Your father blames you, but if you ask me, I say you did your duty. Had you refused the secret chancellery, it would have meant nothing but disaster for all of us. What kind of justice could we expect then?" However, the quarrel with Father goes on and on. You begin to feel uncomfortable at home. You start spending more and more time at work with each passing day. Okay. Oh. We're not far away from hatred. Not ideal. The Rebel. Okay. A year has passed since Stefan engaged you in a scheme to marry Gloria off, and yet you have had no chance to influence your obstinate sister. Tempers are running high in your household. Gloria disappears for days at a time. She is often seen in the company of young commoners. Father constantly lectures Gloria, telling her that her friends are libertines and troublemakers. Connections like these will be her downfall. Your sister listens obediently, then vanishes again. Tonight, Stefan meets you by the door, looking distressed.
"Calamity, I've been waiting for you for quite some time. Let's go to the garden and talk in private. It's about Gloria."
You sit on a shady bench. A hot, dry wind is blowing.
"I was on my way to a ball at the El Laberius mansion. I was already on their doorstep when a servant told me that he had been ordered to turn me away. They will not have anything to do with a family whose offspring is a member of a secret society. I'm certain they meant Gloria, and these are not mere rumors. You know full well that she is entirely capable of such a thing, and here I was wondering where our little rebel spends all her time. We have to act, brother. Any delay in the damage of to our family will be irreparable. We have to make Gloria stop these escapades and get married by any means necessary. A secret society represents a tangible threat to our family. Father will see that and side with us, but still, I will not accuse Gloria without firm evidence. That would be dishonorable. My hope lies with you, Calamity. You are admitted to the right circles, and Gloria still trusts you, though she fears and loathes me. The two of you play together as children so often. You should be able to strike the right tone with her. Find a way to tame Gloria and force her to get married. Remember, we're doing this for the House of Brante as well as for our own good."
The hot wind scorches your face mercilessly. You are lost in thought. We can't infiltrate the secret society. And we can't persuade Gloria. We could either influence Gloria through Mother, or we can reject the plan. I do think he's right. Not necessarily enforcing her, not enforcing her to get married. But in that it will definitely be better for her and the family. That is almost a guarantee. I just like to look at 0 and 2. Oh, there's a map here. I've not seen that before. Cool. Here. We'll talk to her. Talk to Mother about it. You find Mother in her chambers. Her health is improving with each passing day. You sit down on the edge of her bed and ask her how she feels.
"You know, son, As the years go by, our stairs have seemed steeper and steeper. But today I walked downstairs for lunch all by myself. Gloria and I had a long walk around the garden before she left. Is she back yet?
You carefully ask her if she knows where Gloria went. Mother frowns.
To the market. Or was it the weaver's shop? I'm not sure.
You softly tell Mother that Gloria is in trouble. She's gotten herself involved with some dangerous people, conspirators. She must be rescued as soon as possible.
Oh my, are you certain, son? Could it have gone really that far? Might they not be just fellow poets? They're libertines, they don't observe a lot, but they'd never take up arms.
You insist there can be no doubt Gloria has joined a secret society, and before she commits an offense against the authorities, it is your duty to bring her back to safety. Mother agrees with a tired air.
You've always taken good care of this family, Calamity. Now you're right about this too. I raised her, I taught her, I did my best. Was it all for nothing? What do we do now, son?
You tell her about the plan to give Gloria to Sir El Pelletier in marriage. At first Mother is incredulous.
A nobleman of the sword is willing to marry my legitimate daughter, Gloria? The twin gods must be watching over her. But you do realize that she'll rebel against it, don't you? And it would be so sad for me to give her away to another family.
You're sure, Mother, that if she does not get married, Gloria's escapades will ruin not only her own life, but also the Brante family, the same family that gave them both shelter and a life of ease. Mother and Gloria must repay Father's kindness, even if being a nobleman's wife is not exactly what Gloria wishes. Mother's face darkens, her eyes are suddenly sharp. She speaks clearly and distinctly.
My daughter and I will do our duty to the house of Brante. Do not doubt us, son.
Mother spends the rest of the day in prayer. When Gloria finally comes home, they have a long conversation upstairs in Mother's chambers. You hear pleading and weeping coming from that room. The next morning, when you are gathered around the table, Gloria rises to her feet. Her face is still red and swollen from a tearful night.
Noble Sirs Brante, I, Gloria, lowly daughter of Lady Lydia, hereby consent to become the wife of Sir El Pelletier, and will no longer impose myself upon you. I am grateful to this house for everything I have received here. I do not want to be a burden anymore and tarnish the Brante name. I don't deserve to be among you.
Your father is horrified. Mother nods sadly. Stefan jumps to his feet. Gloria, you have mustered the strength to act valiantly. You are dear to our hearts, but we must part ways for the common good. Let us hear nothing more of shame. A family of the highest nobility and a happy husband await you. You will be married to a nobleman of the sword. I will send a letter to Jose El Pelletier at once. Gloria responds to Stefan with a wry smile. Your sister casts an intense look around the room. Who else was behind the scheme to marry her off? Gloria's eyes fix on you. You hold her stare without flinching. Well, that's that then. But her manipulation has increased, so all's well that ends well. Family strife. This event is a consequence of your previous action. Unity 0. The tension at home has become insufferable. Everyone in your family has been driven to the brink by the unending bickering and fighting. Even the smallest family matter is bound to provoke hours of arguments and a drove of mutual insults. Tonight you can already hear it from the doorsteps. Screams of fury, shrill, sobbing. You watch Father run down the stairs. He is absolutely livid. Twins grant me strength. How am I even supposed to get along with my own family now? You ask what brought it on this time, but all your question does is draw Father's ire upon you. Of course you have no idea what's going on. You're doing nothing, Calamity. Nothing at all to return pieces to this family. You're just fanning the flames. You're... Father stops himself before he can utter another word. He hurries to his study. The door shuts and locks. At last, the house is quiet, but it is far from calm. Okay, everyone -2. So pretty much everyone is indifferent to us now, and Gloria hates us. Oh god, our willpower goes down a lot. That's not good. Could have lived with the other consequences, but the willpower going down is bad. Well, either way, that'll be the end of this episode of The Life and Suffering of Sir Brante. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.